Okay, midweek 59, which is the last one of Unit 10. So I told you, it's a super short unit. The most common error in the use of adjectives and adverbs is failing to use the what form to describe the action of a what. Okay, so first of all, if it's an action word, what part of speech is it going to be? A verb. And what part of speech describes verbs? Adverb. So failing to use the adverb form to describe the action of a verb. And some adverbs have two forms. One ends with what two letters, and the other does not have them? The ly. And if the adverb what instead of sure sounds stiff, use the adverb certainly in its place. So make sure into an adverb, it would be surely, right? And use what instead of real as an adverb to mean very. You would say really. And to make adverbial modifiers out of ly adjectives, we need to put them into what kind of phrases that can then modify the verbs? We sang a song about them. Prepositional phrases. And do not use blank of and blank of as adverbial modifiers, meaning rather or somewhat, except in relaxed conversation. So if you said you were somewhat tired, but informally, you'd probably be like, I'm kind of or sort of tired. All right, now we have look, smell, taste, feel, hear, meaning, sound, okay? So these verbs that relate to our senses have two different meanings. One requires an adverb, the other requires an adjective. So if we have Joey looked at the cake versus the cake looked delicious, which sentence has looked meaning an action of your eyeballs? That would be A, right? Joey is physically looking at the cake. The water felt cold versus the customer felt the material. Which sentence does felt mean an action of your physical hands? B, right? Your customer had to feel the material with their physical hands. The cook tasted the soup, the medicine tasted bitter. So which sentence does tasted mean an action performed by the subject's tongue? A, right? The cook literally with his tongue tasted the soup. So, look, smell, taste, feel, hear. When these verbs mean actions of the body, use adverbs to describe those actions. Same way you would use adverbs to describe any other actions. So if we smelled gas very distinct or distinctly in the kitchen, since we are physically smelling the gas, we do it very distinctly. Our costumes looked rather curious versus everyone looked at our costumes curiously. So which sentence does looked mean an action of the eyeballs? B, right? Everyone is looking with their eyes at our costumes in a curious way. So everyone looked at our costumes curious or curiously. So which one would we go with? Curiously. Why? Because in the sentence, looked means an action of the eyes. So to describe this action, we need to choose the adverb, like we just said, curiously. I felt my pocket blank to see if my wallet was there. I felt very blank about my test score. So in which sentence would you use the adverb anxiously? Because felt means an action, and the adverb anxiously would describe that action. That would be A, right? I felt my pocket anxiously to see if my wallet was still there. So much more commonly, the sense verbs are going to be used as linking verbs, and they express no action of the body at all. They merely link an adjective in the predicate to the subject that it describes. So basically, it's like a subject complement. It says it is this, as opposed to it is doing this. So like with the cake looked delicious, the verb looked isn't being like the cake physically looked at anything, right? It's more like the cake is delicious. So the adjective delicious is correct to use because it's describing the subject, which of course is what? Cake. So when used as a linking verb, those sense verbs serve much the same purpose as the linking verb be, is, am, are, was, were, and been. So the water felt cold really is not like the water is physically feeling coldness, right? It's just that the water was cold or the water is cold. So the verb felt, we know, serves as a linking verb, like the verb was, because we are showing that the adjective cold is modifying the subject water, right? It is serving as a subject complement to describe the water. So whenever a sense verb is used as a linking verb, you can generally put a form of be in its place, and that will tell you that, like, no, this just is something. It's not that it's doing something. So if the sky looks cloudy versus the sailor looks at the sky, which sentence is looks being used as a linking verb, because we can replace it with is and have it still make sense? A, right? The sky is cloudy. We wouldn't say the sailor is at the sky. That wouldn't make any sense. So, sorry, I keep yawning. When the sense verbs show no action, but are used as linking verbs, they are followed by adjectives to describe the subject. So our garden looks beautiful or beautifully in the spring. If our verb is looks, it's either that the garden is physically looking around at something and it's doing it in a beautiful way, or it's just that the garden is beautiful. So which one is it? It's our garden is beautiful, right? It's not looking around in a beautiful manner, like beautifully, not an adverb. A field of sweet clover smells very pleasant. So in this sentence, the sense verb smells is used as an action or a linking verb. Is it that the clover is physically smelling something or just is something? It just is something, so linking verb. Because of that, it's followed by pleasant, which is an adjective or an adverb. And adjective, because pleasant is describing the clover, not the action of smelling, because it's not an action verb. It's a linking verb. The old house smells musty or mustily. So which one is correct? Musty. Why is the adjective correct? Because smells is just being used as a linking verb. The old house is musty. So musty is modifying what noun? The house. When a sentence starts with something, when a sentence states that something has a certain look, taste, feel, smell, or sound, the sense verb is then used as an action or a linking verb. It is a linking verb. Alright, circles to highlight. The use of badly instead of bad after the linking verb feel is widespread in informal use, even though it violates our general use. Like, I feel bad or badly about it. So, since feel in a sentence is being used as a linking verb, like I am bad or badly about it, the adjective form is correct in formal writing or formal speaking. Which one is the adjective form? Bad. I feel bad about it. So we feel unhappy about losing the contest. We feel bad about losing the contest. In both sentences, the verb feel is followed by an adjective. Are they both correct? Yes, absolutely. Alright, now good and well. Everyone always messes up good and well. Circle, star, highlight. Always use the adverb well, never the adjective good, to describe an action. Okay? Well is an adverb, good is an adjective. A person will eat well, play well, work well, live well, sing well, die well. They do things well. So if this pen writes well versus this pen writes good, which one is correct? A. Why? Because you do things well. It'd be wrong to say this pen writes good. The reason why it's wrong is because good is an adjective, and therefore it cannot modify what verb? Writes, right? Because adjectives don't describe verbs, only adverbs do, which is why you go with the adverb well. So fold your clothes good or well before putting them away. Alright, so if we're doing the action of folding your clothes, you do actions how? You do them well. Okay, so far so good? Now, although good should not ever be used as an adverb, well can sometimes be used as an adjective, but only when it's to mean in good health, of good appearance, or something is like satisfactory, okay? So good can only be an adjective, but well could be both. Just depends on its usage. So if we have stir the paint well before using it versus our dog is now well again, well is being used as an adjective in which sentence? B, right? Because what is well? our dog. You can say like our dog is now healthy again. Healthy would make sense as describing the dog, so it's like the same thing. So when the pressure is good or well, the sprinkler works good or well. Alright, so the pressure is something, right? We're describing pressure, so which is a noun, so we got to go with the adjective good. When the pressure is good, the sprinkler works. It works how? It does things well. You can't study good or well unless the light is good or well. So what is it for this one? You can't study how, you can't do things well unless the light is good or well, unless the light is good, right? Good describes the noun light. Alright, now how do you decide whether to use good or well after a sense verb? Circle, star, highlight. Stay, circle, star, highlight, and geez. If the sense verb means an action, use well to describe that action. Like I felt the cloth good or well before buying the coat. I am physically feeling the cloth, so I am physically doing the action well. So highlight, if the sense verb is used as a linking verb, which it most of the times will be, you want to follow it with the adjective good to describe the subject. So warm coat feels good on a chilly day is correct because we could say the warm coat is good on a chilly day. Sense verb being used as a linking verb. So the adjective good is correct because it's describing what subject? The coat. Okay, so answers there if you need them. So the popcorn smelled so good that we couldn't resist it. So we're going to use the adjective good because the word smelled is being an action verb or a linking verb. Think either the popcorn is physically smelling something or it just is good. It just is good, so it's just a linking verb. Cheap perfume doesn't smell good or well. Okay, so either the cheap perfume is physically smelling something, in which case it's doing it well, or the cheap perfume is something, in which case it doesn't smell good. Which one? Good. It just isn't good. A person with a cold can't smell good or well. Okay, so either the person is physically trying to smell, or they just are something. They are physically trying to smell, which means we go with the adverb form of well. They can't smell well. They can't do the action well. So, circle the correct modifier after deciding if the verb is being used as an action verb or a linking verb. Mr. Munez felt quite angry or angrily about the bill. Okay, so if this felt, either he's physically feeling something or he just is quite angry. Which one? He just is angry. Adjective form describing Mr. Munez. Your voice sounds different or differently on the tape. Alright, so again, this is either an action or linking. Which one is it? Can you replace it with is? You can. So your voice is different describing the voice. We look through every drawer very thorough or thoroughly. Alright, so either we are something or we are physically looking at something. We are physically looking, which means we go with the adverb. We looked very thoroughly. Answers if you require them still. Okay, Barb feels bad or badly about losing her library card. And remember, is this like an action of her hands? Is she physically feeling something? No. So Barb just like is bad about losing her library card. Lisa looked beautiful or beautifully in her new spring outfit. Lisa. So is she looking around or does she just like look beautiful? She is beautiful, so she is being described by the adjective. You can hear very good or well in the balcony seats. Alright, so here, right, is being done as an action, so you can hear how? You can hear well. I didn't sleep good or well because of the noise. You do things how? You do things well. Taste the soup good or well before you add more salt. So again, you are physically doing this, so you taste it well. And the engine won't run good or well on ordinary gasoline. It won't run well, right? Because it is in action. Okay, not too bad. The biggest thing you just gotta remember is good as an adjective, well as the adverb. Let's go to the worksheet.